You do.
Okay, that's true. That's why I'm not the goofy one. All right,
It's me.
it's you.
It's
Oh,
me.
it's you.
Don't take it from me.
Okay.
What's up, everybody? This is the Hypothesis Podcast. I'm Taylor.
And I am Talkin.
And today we have a special guest with us. Special guest, who are you?
Sean Banks, President and CEO, or I should say President and Founder of Cash Consulting.
Awesome. So first, what we wanted to ask you is, as a businessman, what kind of led you to wanting to own your own business? Do you consider yourself like business talented, or business focused, or business interested? Did you get out of the womb was like, man, I just really want to hustle, or how did that come about for you?
So for me, I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I feel like I always had an entrepreneurial spirit, the spirit just to go out and hustle and get what you want out of life. It all started really. My father has his own business. I saw him, selling his artwork because he's an artist. He sells his artwork pretty much to help pay for my college tuition, whatnot.
Okay.
He sold a lot of his artwork to judges, lawyers that live in the area where we live at. He has a lot of his paintings hanging up in local buildings, like around where my family is. So just seeing that pretty much kind of inspired me to go out and just do my own thing, really. And originally when I started going into business, I wanted to help people. And one thing you got to realize is, it's okay you want to help people, but
Right.
you still got to find a way to make a profit at the end of it,
Right.
so you can be able to, maintain your lifestyle and support your family, and whatever other dreams, aspirations you have, out of life.
Right on. Shout out to Pops for setting that foundation
True.
of entrepreneurship.
Setting the trends.
Yeah.
Go Black Dads. So before we get completely into your business, tell us a little bit about your business.
So we're right now a digital marketing firm.
Mm-hmm.
Starting off small. I have two partners, and one of them offers web design services,
Nice.
and the other partner works with Google Analytics.
Okay.
So we start off like with digital marketing, and the way it sets up is, I got my two partners. And Cash Consulting, we offer our own services, which is around content creation, social media management,
Mm-hmm.
and I also do general consulting on the side too. So I'll help out with business plans. I'll help businesses come up with marketing campaigns,
Mm-hmm.
and also find ways like to expand their business. Right now, we're starting out small, like helping out small businesses, and even people are just getting started.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the clients I've seen so far are people who are tired of working the 9-to-5 life, and pretty much they're struggling to make ends meet. These are the same typical people that are typically working their 9-to-5, but they have to find at least one or two other jobs to help make it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's just a struggle for them. So they're getting tired of it. Honestly, they want to go out there and do their own thing. They want to, do what they feel like they're talented at. Whether it's making different designs for T-shirts, whether it's doing hair, whether it's making jewelry, they want to go out there and start that business so they can have the extra income coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Because this 9-to-5 life is good. It gives us kind of like what we need, but it only pays the bills.
Right.
And sometimes it barely does that.
Right.
Yeah.
So right now we got to realize that the times are changing now. Nobody really wants to be stuck in a 9-to-5 lifestyle no more. Everybody wants to do their own thing.
True.
And everybody wants the ability to own theirs, pretty much have their name attached to something. So that's one thing I really appreciate about what I do, because now it only inspires me to go out and just keep building what I have, but also lift other people that are trying to do the same thing as me as well.
Come on. Talk about lifting as we climb. Yes. I like that. I think that a lot of people struggle, one, with having a 9-to-5 and then trying to break their mind away from just staying glued to the 9-to-5 and feeling like, okay, my rest time outside of 9-to-5 has to be me resting versus like me seeking out what I am interested in doing.
Right. And I completely agree. The only thing, it's a scary thing. Like, you're in a 9-to-5, like you have job security. Depending what job you have, you probably have really good benefits.
Right.
Probably making maybe I want to say at least $50K or more, depending. Like I said, depends on what job you have.
Right.
But there's a lot of people out there that are afraid to take that risk and just go out and own their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a scary thing. So it's just like, when you start something, you don't know what could possibly happen.
Right.
It could eventually take off. It could bring you a lot of money. Could bring you all the money that you ever need to do this, that, and more.
Right.
But it can happen in like maybe in one night or so.
Right.
Everything could come crashing down. And you could lose it all.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the scariest part, about entrepreneurship.
Right.
But I just feel like in the times we're living at now, it's just there's only two things you're going to do. You're either going to be consistent and stagnant with your 9 to 5,
Mm-hmm.
or you're just going to break away from what you feel like is the norm that we've been taught all of our life.
Yeah.
It's true.
I personally do not think that a 9 to 5 is, I think it's cruel and unusual. I think it's inhumane. I think we spend most of our lives, K through 12 education, sitting for 8 hours a day, learning that discipline, not for us to be conditioned to do that as adults. I think that we've paid that time. I personally don't think that anything takes 8 hours to do for a business, but I think that's the American culture of, oh, you work hard, maybe this 9 to 5 will get you somewhere, when in actuality a lot of times the 9 to 5s are just supposed to keep you in that 9 to 5. You have to always go past that 8 hours, pulling 14-15 hour days to do the things that you want to do outside of your 9 to 5. You said something about being fearful of taking that step. Can we talk more about those who just don't even know what steps to take to get to that? Like, what is some of your advice on how someone should start off finding their side hustle or their entrepreneurial business?
I guess it really depends, honestly. For the first thing is I would do is find something that you're really interested in and like what you're doing, because there's nothing worse than being stuck doing a job that you absolutely hate.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And it's just like a lot of people, when they think of entrepreneurship, they find the idea that they think will make a lot of money, they run off with it, and then they find out in the long run it takes a lot of work just to keep that idea afloat.
Mm-hmm.
And then what they thought they were in love with, they fall out of love with it because they only thought about the money in the beginning, but they somewhere down the road they either didn't think about why they were actually doing it besides the money,
Mm-hmm.
or they didn't even consider the work they would have to put in
Yeah.
Right.
just to keep things afloat. And I recommend to anybody, first of all, just find what you're passionate about, what really makes you tick.
Yeah.
And for me, it's all about helping people. And I just like to come in, take a problem that somebody's having, and see if we can find a solution for them that actually works for them.
Yeah.
And honestly, like I said, it really starts with that, and that's the foundation. As far as the other steps, I actually posted a photo on Instagram, and I definitely check it out. It's a cash consultant. It was talking about some of the things that businesses, when they get started, things you got to keep in mind. And one thing it says that you don't need a lot of money to get started. And one thing is what I say is it does take money to actually, I guess, if you're looking to buy a building or you need the infrastructure or the IT stuff going on, but it doesn't take money to actually just open up a laptop or go to the library and just go to Google and just sit on the computer and just Google and research what you're actually trying to do.
Right.
Yeah.
And that right there is pretty much, I'll say, about 70% of the work right there, because we don't actually take the time to do our research to see if this idea is going to be profitable or not. If it is going to be profitable, where is it going to be profitable at? Should I start it here in my local community, or is this something that I should focus on? Maybe it'll be something that will be hip in the next couple of years from now. Maybe right now it's just a slowly moving trend that everybody's still getting used to.
Yeah.
So that's one thing is I would start with actually doing the research, and then once you figure out what you want to do, and if you actually think, okay, is this going to be a side hustle that I actually want to make a business in the future, or I just going to straight out just make this my business going out. And then that's when I'll start like making a business plan, and then start looking for a team that's actually going to like help you. You know, a lot of people, they try to do that themselves, but you can only but go so far when you try to do it by yourself. And that's one thing I learned the hard way myself is you actually need help going down this entrepreneurial path.
For sure.
That's interesting. And you started getting into it a little bit, but I wanted to ask, what was your big shift to doing this this business by yourself or with the team? When did you shift? Did you shift like from a 9 to 5 and like, you know, this isn't working for me, or did you just go ahead and invest straight into your business? Like, what was your process?
So it's kind of I'm glad you asked that question. It's kind of I'm gonna be honest and real with everybody that's listening or that's going to listen, but no, it's kind of a selfish reason when I first kind of got started.
Okay.
So while I was in undergrad at Hampton University, I was applying because I always wanted to be a consultant, like go into consulting, help out, fix people's problems, and I applied for dozens of consulting agencies while I was at Hampton, and every time I looked, I was getting rejection letters, and I was just trying to figure out, well, what is it that is not separating me from other people? Right. And besides, I wasn't the best student within the classroom. Like I did okay, but I had kind of like average grades, whatnot.
Right.
So I couldn't apply everything that I learned from a textbook in the classroom. Right. But I did. I had other businesses while I was in undergrad, so I took what I learned out of the classroom and applied it like in the real world. And it just, I guess it didn't show on paper when you show those companies your resume.
Right.
So I just took a hard look at myself, and I just tried to figure out what is it that's really going to separate me from my peers. Because if you think about it, we're all competing against one another. We can be friends at the end of the day. We can go turn up together or whatever, go party. But the next day when you're sitting like across from the interviewer and you and your friends are applying for the same position, you're giving them the same resume, it's not going to matter. It's everybody for themselves, kind of. Yeah. And it's just like, kudos to like all my friends and stuff that made it, and that's bringing other people with them. Right. And I'm very proud of them because they actually had something. But for me, I had to figure out what I want to do. That's going to help me get into those consulting firms, and that's why I say it was a selfish reason. So I started a consulting company thinking it was going to give me the experience I thought I didn't have. Oh, okay. And then I was going to leverage that to actually work for those consulting companies. And then after a while, like when I first got started, it started off like really slow, and then eventually I found out, maybe if I can actually like learn this real world, like just take this experience I'm getting from starting my own business, maybe I'll get so good at it that maybe it'll become bigger. Maybe I can find other people just like me that are struggling to find internships, to find a job after college. Maybe this could be a stepping stone for them to come to my company, just actually get the experience that they need, and then eventually take it to the other bigger companies. So now I'm giving them a safe haven where, hey, it's okay. I understand you're looking for a job. Come here, get the experience first. Right. Make the mistakes now. That way, when you go to these bigger companies and they see like all the work that you put in, the experience you got with my company and everything that you did, when you go there, you know what to do. Right. You'll know. As soon as you get there, you can hit the ground running. Start taking on. Start being a mentor to others, and start showing them like the different path. Because either way, it's gonna. For me, this is like my way of helping people. So I'm making money off at the same time, but I'm also giving people an opportunity to go out and do what they want to do, giving them that chance to, I guess, showcase their strengths and find out what they're good at and what they're passionate about.
Absolutely. And I think that's so important because sometimes, a lot of the times, this is not my case, but a lot of times 9-to-5s don't give their workers the opportunity to really try to hone in on some skills outside of what's in their job description. Right. And so it is important to partner and collaborate because a lot of times people want to get paid for their time. It's not about, getting compensated with money right off the bat. It's about getting compensated, like you said, with that experience, because it goes a lot further. You know, especially like when you're starting out with something, it's okay to do some stuff for free sometimes. It's okay to do a little bit of favors every now and then for good-hearted people and for people who have good intent for what you're doing and are really gonna allow you to expand and utilize whatever you guys collaborated on to boost you up, you know. And so I think that's really important because, like you said a lot earlier, a lot of people think that when you start a business, all right, it's just gonna blow up overnight. It's not. A lot of times people are taking a lot of sacrifices and they're taking a lot of L's when it comes to shelling out work that is super top quality, but because you don't have that support necessarily right away, you may get paid less for what you're doing, or you may not get paid at all, you know. But bigger things that typically get yielded out of that, you know, the bigger blessings come when you start doing things with good intent always. I was just talking to my boss about this the other day, and this is something that you mentioned, just good intent. Don't be in it for selfish reasons. When I find myself doing things for selfish reasons, it never really works the way it's supposed to. Not in the beginning, not until I realize, like, all right, what am I doing wrong? Let me pray on this. Let me figure out where my heart is with this, and then I go for it, you know. So I think that's good.
True. Now that we've seen kind of like your mental process for starting a business and maintaining it, what was the actual physical work? Like, you know, I know we talked about, you know, starting up to really research what you want to do and figure out, is it going to be profitable in the market? But what about, you know, thinking about office space or equipment, or getting financing, or signing up for a business license? Like, what was the physical process to make it actually legitimate?
The only thing I had to really pay for, honestly, is I paid from the LLC for my business.
Right.
I don't got no physical office space. I pretty much do everything out my apartment, and I try to take advantage of free to low expensive resources. So,
right.
So I use pretty much Skype and Zoom pretty much to meet with my clients.
Zoom's my best friend.
Exactly. Like, you can do business anywhere if you just if you have the right platform. And Skype and Zoom allows you to do that, because now I can talk to pretty much anybody across the United States, or maybe even the world, if I wanted to. And that pretty much makes my business a global business right there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And people
international.
Exactly. And people don't even realize that all these resources we have can actually take your game to the next level.
Right.
And pretty much, and honestly, that's it, honestly.
Okay.
So right now I don't need no office space. I pretty much just use my laptop, and pretty much I use like a whole bunch of different apps to like go out and find clients.
Right.
Besides like Facebook and Instagram.
Right.
That we like pretty much use every day. I pretty much try to go to networking events, so I use something like Meetup.
Right.
I would use like different like social apps, like besides LinkedIn, there's Bumble that people actually use for biz connections. So people there are a whole bunch of people that are in the startup phase or want to start their own business, or maybe they're in a certain company now that are looking for a career change.
Right.
So I just go up there, I swipe on people that when I look at their profile, if they have like certain skills, expertise that I need, like they have marketing skills, or maybe they're good at web designing, or maybe they can do mobile apps. Pretty much I'll try to meet with those people, talk to them about what I'm trying to do, and see if there's a fit for them to like come work with me. And that's pretty much something that I feel like when you're just starting out, that's something you have to do. Like, take advantage of all the free stuff, but that's really how you get your ideas.
Right.
And that's really how you build your team right there.
Mm-hmm. One thing, before I talk to you, want you to go more in depth on the LLC and what that allows people to do. You talked earlier about I'm going back. You talked earlier about it just being a cutthroat business when we're going for 9-to-5 jobs. That is what they want. That's how they set us up, so that we feel like everybody next to us is our competition, but really the higher ups are our competition because they're the ones that's lowballing. They're the ones that's making us feel like we shouldn't share our salaries to figure out commonalities or disparities in between pay. Because a lot talking about salaries is a taboo. I'll go to lunch with a bunch of people that I meet out here in DC, and they start talking about, how the culture is. Everybody talk about work. Don't nobody want to talk about how much they make. I'll ask, how much do you make? I make this. Because I think it's important for me to compare and contrast experiences so I can see if I'm getting shorted or if I'm ahead of the curve. I think that allows people to understand kind of really where they are skill-wise and qualification-wise in the corporate world. But even though we know a lot of people don't get paid based on their skill set and stuff like that. But back to what you were saying about entrepreneurship, that's why it's so important for us to utilize these highly accessible resources, because we can have autonomy on how we move with our money. We can band together, and all those people that was going for that 9 to 5 can put their money in a pile and be like, this is what I'm bringing to the table. This is what can add on to the business. Let's see how we can make this a joint partnership and go take over the world.
Exactly.
Because that's what it's going to take. It's going to take the numbers. It's going to take people with the willpower. It's going to take people with the dedication, but also with the passion to do whatever it is you got going on. But that's with anything.
Indeed. I want to also ask, thinking about kind of like reflecting on your journey as an entrepreneur, what are some things that you like, I wish I would have known that, before I started, or what are some lessons that you've learned since you've been running your own business?
So I guess the most important lesson is, and pretty much bear in mind that a cash consultant is not the first business I started, actually. It's like, I'll say maybe the third or fourth one I did.
Okay.
And one of the main things I've learned is, it's okay to fail. It's okay to stumble and fall down, but you have to be sure to pick yourself back up, pick up the pieces, and keep it moving. Another thing is pretty much with time management. Everybody thinks that the typical entrepreneur is supposed to work 80 hours a week just to build their business. And honestly, I kind of disagree. I feel like now with all of IT, with whether it's with with the mobile apps and stuff, we have a lot of things that we can take advantage of to make our lives easier.
Right.
So pretty much, no, I don't believe that entrepreneurs have to work 80 hours. I feel like everything can be done within a mere, I'll say maybe 10 hours of your time during the week, just to help you knock out some small tasks, as long as you know how to manage your time effectively. Right. And I know one of the books I read, I think it's called I can't remember the book exactly, but I think it's like 1 Minute Manager, or something like that, where it's talking about how to effectively delegate tasks to people on your team.
Ooh, that's a big one.
Exactly, and that's one thing I struggle with still to this day. Honestly, is passing out certain responsibilities to my team. It's just not that I don't trust them or feel confident in abilities to execute. From my background point of view, I've always kind of done things myself. Yeah. So I'm so used to carrying the ball.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I really gotta learn how to do, is just to delegate. But it comes with time, though.
Indeed, sure. It does.
And another very important thing is to take care of yourself. Because I'm telling you right now,
say that again.
The mental and physical breakdown. What I'm trying to say is, you have to really take care of yourself, because running your business can be draining. Yeah. Not just physically, but it can be mentally and emotionally. Right. Pretty much, after you work your 9 to 5, when you're very tired, but you still have to go to these networking events. You're pretty much physically tired, probably mentally tired too, because now you're going from sitting at the desk from 9 to 5. You're pretty much hardly moving what it is, but now you're hungry. You pretty much don't got time to pretty much go home, cook dinner. You have to get to this networking event.
Right.
Pretty much got to go meet some people, pass out your business cards. Probably, depending on where you live, you probably don't even get back till 7, 8 o'clock at night.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm just telling you right now, it's just like, if you want your business to run, you really got to take care of yourself first, because if the president or CEO fall, the whole business is going to fall.
Absolutely.
So that's pretty much like cutting the head of a snake off a body.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and I don't know, but I don't know if time management is a thing. Like, it's a thing, but like, you don't limit yourself to like certain times doing stuff. Like, if it's 3 o'clock in the morning and you got an idea, write that shit down.
Yeah.
Like, write it down right then and there, because you might forget it when you wake back up to go do whatever else you got to do.
Exactly.
So.
And it can be done, because pretty much I work a 9 to 5. I go to school too.
Oh.
Pretty much I still making time for my friends and family.
Right on.
It can be done. You just pretty much got to create a schedule that works for you.
Absolutely.
And one thing I'm focusing on myself is my health.
Right.
Because like in my family, we're overweight people, and diabetes runs in my family particularly. So one thing I always got to do is constantly stay in the gym, working out, getting all the cardio and exercise I can. So pretty much I just set a schedule out. I'm either going to the gym in the morning, and then like doing like all my meetups and my networking events like after work, or if I want, I can just have a chill day. Pretty much just wake up whatever time in the morning, go to work, and then just go to the gym afterwards, and just maybe like send a couple messages on Facebook to potential prospects that may want to do business with me. So pretty much your schedule will probably vary, or you can pretty much be that person, have a consistent schedule that pretty much has everything down to the T of how they want everything to go about within their day. Yeah. But there's a lot of uncontrollables though, because stuff happens, like life happens. And people just gotta realize that not every single day is going to be the same as it was yesterday.
Right.
For sure.
I wanted to ask, and for you to get a little bit personal. You talked about it being okay to fail. Could you give us an example of one time where you failed, or you felt like you failed?
So when my first business that I started, after my freshman year in college, I actually created another business, and this was with a friend of mine. He wanted to actually go into the music industry, and one day he showed me his CD, let me listen to it, and pretty much I asked him, why are you not doing all you can to get this on the radio? Why are you not trying to push this? Right. So eventually, I was helping him and his group, trying to, progress in the music industry, and eventually, some things happened. We fell off, but he kept me on. At least the person I knew kept me on as his personal manager, and pretty much I created another business with him, and it became like an event planning business. And pretty much, I had this whole idea where, if we did events in the area, if I promoted him because he rapped and he DJ'd. Okay. Nice. So I felt like if we could do a whole bunch of events in the area, maybe even outside the area, where he would be DJ and he can play his music in those areas where there's a lot of people, and if they heard his music or pretty much dancing to it, they'll be asking what song is this, who's this artist, whatnot. And this will pretty much get his name out there more and more of his exposure. And apparently and it didn't happen that way as I planned to. And like I said, and this is where life comes up, and this is where I had in my time I had to make a decision. It's either I keep pushing the event planning business, and of course we were making money and we were making a lot of progress, and I had a lot of connections that I was making within the music and the radio industry. And it was just I had to make a decision, continue with the event planning business, or continue, or just focus on school and go down the path you originally set for yourself, which is to go to school, graduate, and get a good job, and pursue other aspirations. And eventually, I made the decision to focus more on school, and I fell back from the whole music industry. And from that point, I just really had to think for a moment. And this is like another weakness of mine too, is that I sometimes like tend to put others before myself.
Yeah.
And I had this, and I just really thought to myself, and I had my aha moment. It was just like, um, look, I need to like focus on myself first before I can help anybody else.
Right.
Because this is no point of me, though me and my business partner at that time to like both gonna be working our tails off in this business, and pretty much everything could be lost overnight, and I have no like plan B or fallback plan because I didn't finish school.
Right. Yeah.
So, and that was I wouldn't say I probably shouldn't consider that a failure for the most part, because I learned a lot from doing that.
Right.
From making my own contracts, from knowing how to network with people, knowing how to find the right people to talk to. I learned a lot from it, and I'm very grateful to have that experience and have him giving me the opportunity to do that.
Right.
But pretty much, that's, I consider I failed because, I think and during that time, I think I thought a lot about short term, and I didn't think a lot about the long term. And just because of that, I had to, relook at the plan board and think about the chess pieces I was moving. And I had to realize, I was putting my own self in checkmate the way I was moving. And if I didn't, rethink my steps, or re-strategize how I was doing things, about how my life was going to go, I could have been like somewhere else.
True.
So
it could have been me.
True. Yeah, I wanted to definitely ask for an example, because a lot of times we listen to a lot of different entrepreneurs, whether they're young or old, regardless of ethnicity, and they speak so positively about the process of becoming their self-entrepreneur. And we never get to hear, what kind of mistakes they make, how they're actually feeling, so we can really understand if I'm going to start a business, what kind of things should I be thinking about? And I'm like you in that I put people before me a lot of times, and that, that's bad for business. Business is transaction. You start putting everything before your actual process or profit, then you can't sustain your business.
Right.
Sure.
So I definitely appreciate that example. So we're going to shift into another part. Go ahead and relax, everybody. We want to humanize you a little bit, and so I want to ask you just kind of some general questions about what kind of person you are.
Okay.
So you talked about you being in the in the music industry. What kind of music do you actually listen to?
So I listen.
Please say death metal, because nobody ever says that.
I don't listen to metal. A lot of hip hop, a lot of R&B. I listen to a couple rock songs now and then.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit country, depending on the mood. But
I'm gonna take my horse.
that song, I played that a whole lot.
It's hard. It's hard.
It'd be on repeat all the time.
Too much.
Yeah.
But I listen to, I try to listen to a lot of different genres. I really try to, and especially when it comes to hip hop. I know I've definitely fallen off the wagon. Like, I'm not up to date with like all the new artists and whatnot.
That's okay.
And
they don't matter.
And honestly, I can't even get into them, like half of their music.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll probably take me like 3 or 4 times to actually listen to one song to determine if I like it or not.
Yeah.
But normally after like the first time hearing that, like, yeah, this is garbage.
Garbage.
Garbage. Name 3 underrated rappers that you listen to.
I'll have to say one of them is Pusha T. That's for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, one of them is Pusha T. I'm trying to think who else is like would be considered underrated. I have to give it up to also Jada. Yeah, Jadakiss is another underrated rapper, I feel.
We're just talking about him.
Jadakiss.
Yeah, Jadakiss actually is pretty good. Like, he's really smooth.
I would agree. We were trying to figure out how they let him get away with the name Jadakiss.
I said his mother name was Jada and she just used to kiss him.
It's very different, I think. It's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like those two specifically, I don't know, they really make really good music, honestly, and especially Pusha T's Daytona album.
Mm-hmm.
I really like that album.
Okay.
Now I'm still considering, I don't know, I'm still trying to figure out like who won the beat between Pusha T and Drake. A lot of people say Drake won it. A lot of people say Pusha won it. I don't know. I'm still trying to debate, figure that out. But no, I don't know what y'all's opinion is. But no, I think Drake kind of like had it. Like, I think he's won that beat. But Pusha T came at him,
Mm-hmm.
calling him out when it comes to Drake's kid and whatnot.
Right.
But I don't know. I'm still trying to decide. But I can't think of a third underrated rapper right now. At least not off the top of my head.
Do you listen to anybody from Dreamville?
J. Cole.
Okay.
Yeah.
We need you to look into his repertoire of other signed artists. Yeah. And then Smino. Who was he signed to?
I don't know.
He'd just be chilling.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
probably somewhere on the end of Def Jam or Rockefeller. But so who are you listening to now? Like even outside of hip hop, if it is, who's on your playlist?
Oh man. Oh, outside of hip hop?
Yeah, outside of hip hop.
I'm more of an R&B person, honestly.
Okay.
So no, I still stick with like Mary J. Blige,
Yes.
Music Soul Child.
Ooh.
Okay.
Okay.
Jeez, who else would I consider? I listen to a little bit of Robin Thicke now and then.
Okay.
And plus I just like to still go back old school, like Black Street,
Hey. Okay.
Mint Condition, New Edition. And I'm if you want, I can even go even really old school too, like listen to like Temptations, Marvin Gaye.
Wow.
But that's all the music I was brought up onto because my parents listened to it. And then I guess like as I got older, I got a little bit more hip hop because my brothers like would play a lot of like Tupac and Biggie when I was growing up. So no, I got on those two artists like kind of big.
Every time I hear stuff like from the Commodores and just really anybody that was like just like making soul music in like the 60s and the 70s, I always think about when CDs were a big thing, and your parents in their car, they got the photo book of CDs.
Exactly.
And my mom would just pop in, the 70s soul, 170s soul, songs and just play it through. And I still like sing those songs today. I got them on my phone and stuff like that. And like Mary J. Blige, I don't know what the album was, but it was the live version. It was her concert version of her like Share My World album. I don't know if that's what the album's called, but yeah, like life can be only what you. Yeah, we can go on and on about music, like old school music.
I cannot.
But you,
Unless we're going really old school,
Like
go
really
into
old school.
blues, like 1920s and 30s. Talk about Howlin' Wolf,
well,
Muddy Waters.
I can go
Mama
back
Thornton.
to like Curtis Mayfield.
Oh,
like,
that's still like, what was that, 60s?
yeah. I mean, it's not that I don't listen. Like I have Miles Davis and stuff on my phone, but to just say
People say Miles Davis when they don't have anything else.
Yeah, but I like the sounds. I was in band my whole life, concert band, jazz band. I played bari sax, clarinet, so I like
Soft brag.
good sounding music.
Right.
I like symphonic music. I like jazz. I like hip hop. I like rock. I like it all. If it sounds good to my ears, if it makes me feel good, I listen to it.
What about death metal?
No, but I
No.
used to listen to what's the Metallica? Listen to a couple songs of Metallica. One.
Metallica's pretty metal.
Yeah, and BYOB.
I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, Guitar Hero stuff.
I can tell right now, Talkin must be really big in death metal. That's the third time he says
I
that.
mean, he loves,
Unfortunately,
he
I am
plays it
not.
all
Like,
the
I don't
time.
listen, so
yeah, screamo.
Metallica's as close as I've ever gotten. I've only listened to a one Megadeth song. The closest I actually get to death metal has been Linkin Park, and they're new metal. They're not.
Yeah.
They're new metal. They're not death metal.
Wait, Linkin Park is considered metal?
Yeah. So some of their older stuff was considered metal. I think a lot of songs from Hybrid Theory, but that's why they're considered new metal, not so much as like metal.
I would say at the drive-in.
There's a lot of really strange subgenres in metal. There's like poison metal and new metal and hard metal. Anyway, outside of music, what else do you do? You got any hobbies, or what else do you do for fun or enjoyment or self-care?
Pretty much. No, I like to be active for the most part. No, I play basketball. I'm a really huge board game player. Like that's what me.
Nice.
That's what me and my fiance do all the time. Like all we do is just play games. Like
That's what's up. What's your board game of choice then?
Anything I can literally beat her and anybody else at. Let's put it like that. Let's put it like that. But I like Monopoly. Like that's my
Yeah.
favorite
Yeah.
game.
That
That's
is-
actually
Yeah.
the first game that my dad introduced me to, and that's like kind of like I got hooked on the business.
Yeah.
And I really was thought that, well, dang, if the life was like just like Monopoly, I would be killing it right now.
Hey,
Listen,
man. Hey.
Monopoly made me realize that parents are evil and they don't care if you're a child and they will make you go bankrupt and take all of your houses away from you if they have the chance.
Monopoly
I used
destroys
to
families.
lose. It really does. Like game night used to get really serious when they brought out Monopoly. Like
Look, so tell me why. So my family loves Monopoly, and we had like 4 different sets. We had a Simpsons Monopoly, like the classic Monopoly, and the New Age Monopoly, and then one other one. So of course, there's always like house rules that people play by. So we did it almost like a real business. So we would have like if somebody owned Boardwalk, they would write out contracts and say, all right, if you rolled a 5 and you land on my Boardwalk, then you only have to pay this percentage instead of having to pay the whole thing, just to kind of not only keep the game going, but to make it a little bit more intricate.
Yeah, I don't do that.
Yeah,
Hey,
I mean, we make it extra complicated.
have you ever played a game called Clue? It's an old game.
Yes, that's one of my favorite games. Too.
I used to love Clue. Like that was just a really good game. Oh my gosh! Now my childhood is just coming back to me. Now I want to go home.
That's funny.
Yeah, board games are pretty dope.
Yeah. Do you think kids today play board games?
No.
Yeah, I have to agree with Taylor. I don't think they play as enough board games, and honestly,
Right.
I don't even think that. And this is just from my opinion and from the way I feel.
Right.
I don't even think that we even have family game nights anymore. To be honest,
Very true.
I feel like now that with all the smartphones going out, especially when you think about it, kids in elementary school, they got smartphones now.
Yeah.
Like-
Yeah, they do.
Like they got their own Facebook pages, they got their own Twitter pages, own Instagram handles,
Crazy.
Yeah.
and it's just like, well, back growing up, we didn't have none of that. Like,
No.
I don't even think I even had a phone back in elementary or middle school.
I had a
Right.
Firefly phone in 6th grade. You
Yeah,
remember the Firefly phones?
No, I don't
A
remember
mom
that.
button, a dad button, a talk button, a end button, and a contact button. I got talked about so
That was like
bad.
It was like a new age pager or something.
I
Like,
got roasted so bad. I'm gonna pull up a picture.
I've never seen that, honestly.
yeah, that's
Oh my gosh! Now I feel terrible, but now I kind of feel elite because I was the only one that really actually had one.
that was a
It was a
child.
child.
Pager.
Yeah,
was a
no,
pager.
it was like a supposed to be like a child protective phone, so like you couldn't like do like stuff you had no business doing on your phone. I'm like,
True.
Mom,
That's
now
interesting.
now I want to do stuff I don't have no business doing because you're trying to stop me. Like, what do you want stopping me from doing? Like now I'm
running up
inquisitive.
the phone bill because they didn't have free and unlimited minutes back then like they do now.
Well, one time I actually did that in high school. I ran the phone bill up like $400 because
Yep,
I didn't
see?
know. I
They
thought I
shoulda-
had unlimited text.
Oh,
She
gee.
took my phone from me for so long that the next time I got a phone, that phone was obsolete. Like it was a whole year.
But dang, $400 worth. Shit, I would too.
Hey, yeah. I would have just
blame
gave
her.
you. Yep, you would
I
have to
don't
get
blame
stuck
her.
with a pager, like a real pager.
I don't know. I mean,
She said she-
just in my opinion, I just feel like the kids nowadays, they're growing up faster than what we're expecting now.
they-
Yeah, real
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah, and it's crazy too. But I just feel like, no, I don't think the concept of actually like going outside to play now
Mm-hmm.
is as heavy as it used to be.
Right.
So well, I mean, with all the smartphone technology, even with the new game consoles, I know I have Xbox One myself, but
Hey, man.
I hardly play it myself now.
Oh, okay.
I don't like Xbox. We
You
have
don't?
it. No, it's like a boy's toy. I don't know. I grew up on PlayStation.
Yeah, I mean, there's
So-
a lot of social changes taking place too, because now there's a lot of females that actually is starting to get into the gaming world. Like
Yeah.
they're the ones now that's taking over playing Xbox One.
They are.
So I'm thinking I'm playing Call of Duty, think I'm getting killed by another dude. It's actually a female,
Yeah.
and she sniped me from the corner every single time.
camping.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
But yeah, and the kids like they got the iPads and stuff. They be on YouTube and stuff. I know when I have kids, they're not getting any of that. As a matter of fact, if I can, Firefly phone.
I mean,
Yeah, they won't have that.
I don't think that's avoidable now, because the way the education is going.
Oh yeah.
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 I think eventually within the next couple of years, I think everything will be on computer now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And there will be, I think it's going to be a requirement for kids to have a laptop or some type of tablet.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They actually provide them for a lot of schools. They get grants for that. Mac gives out grants, like it's not crazy, and they fund the Apple computers in schools. So I worked as a tutor throughout college. I went to school for education. The kids did not know what side of the paper was upside on a 3-hole punched paper. A lot of them could not write in the lines because the handwriting is so bad because you don't write that much.
Right.
But then on top of that, what's also really funny is they don't teach them how to type. So y'all working on iPads and computers all day, but you're typing like this instead of understanding like you need to set, like when I was growing up, my mom was a big, like, she always was up on like the latest tech stuff. Like I remember getting DSL dial-up a computer on our internet on our gateway computer, and my mom would give me a lot of computer games that were educational games. So like Timon and Pumbaa typing games, counting games, mathematic games, all those like Brainiac games, things like that. When I was spelling words, all that stuff. But I was learning how to type when I was in like first grade. They are using computers in first grade, but are not learning how to type. And I think that that's an issue because when they don't know how to spell and write, don't know how to tell time on an analog clock, and also cannot type, how efficient are you really making them?
And I completely agree. And I hope that's not the case. We have first graders with computers.
Oh yeah.
Or tablets. I really hope that's not the case because they need to start, like, that's the time they need to focus on vocabulary and actually writing and whatnot. And there's always been debates about who to blame for this. Is it the school system itself, or is it part of the parents' responsibility as well to actually have their kids sit down doing the writing, learning the vocabulary, and staying away from the IT? So I don't know. What's your opinions on that?
So I think it's interesting because the schools, K through 12 kindergartners have these little iPads that of course got a case on it so they don't break them, but even kindergartners are learning off of technology. I think it's strange because it's like this technology is more affordable, it's more user friendly, like it's easier to teach through computers because they can do so much more than we can in person. And of course people connect for whatever reason with technology a lot faster than they can connect with people. So I think it on one part those are the positives, but at the same time it's like, I don't know, it's also hard to argue against them because like unfortunately they don't need to learn how to spell. They don't need to learn how to type because we have autocorrect for everything. Like we have programs built in computers, built in email. Like Google will finish a whole sentence for you.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You still need to learn how to do that because that's fundamental principles of life. You don't know how to read or write. What are you gonna do?
But that's the thing. We don't need that anymore because you got books that'll talk to you. We got audiobooks.
But you still need it for the people who don't have access to all that tech. For example, like 80% of juveniles that are in the juvenile justice system are illiterate.
Yeah.
You are in jail. You got taken out of school as a child. You got pushed into a system and you tried, you don't even understand the process at which you're going in because you are functionally illiterate, meaning that you really don't have the capacity to take care of yourself.
I disagree about taking care of yourself. I'm not going to say that. Of course, I feel like I'm a reader by heart. I love books. I love all kinds of books, nonfiction and fiction. And I believe everybody should really read at least a couple books a year. Read a book. Thinking about how technology moves, you don't really need to know how to read in order to survive. You don't even need to know how to read in order to succeed in life anymore. Because there's so many things as far as programs, as far as AI, as far as how we function as people. You don't really need to know how to read. Even if you, like, for example, data analyst is a really big market because learn how to code, learn how to read statistics, but you don't have to know words in order to learn how to be a data analyst.
I will firmly believe to my grave, anything can be taken from you but what you know. And that's the gem in learning how to read and learning how to write. Because once you learn how to do those things, they can not be taken. They can take away AIs. They can take away data analysts. They can figure out how they do data. And then you'll have to relearn that again. Not saying that that's knowledge that you can also hone, but I'm a traditionalist when it comes to education, because I'm a reader. I love reading. I love writing. I've been talking since almost I came out the womb. And I think it's just very important for people to have, for people to be able to read and damn write. You shouldn't, just because you don't have to, not do it. That's taking the easy route.
I agree, absolutely. But people have substituted books for documentaries.
There will never be a good substitute. You read the book and watch the documentary. That's the thing.
I would hope so.
I agree with Taylor, even though I'm not a heavy reader myself, more of a writer.
Hey, man.
But you're right.
And I completely agree. I don't know. It's just technology is really taking over. It's really changing the way we learn, the way we interact.
Yeah.
No, we're not even having formal conversations anymore. To be honest, everything's mostly through text.
Yeah.
Everything can be done through comments on Instagram. People are Snapchatting stories more than they're actually just calling somebody up and saying, "Hi, how you doing?"
Yeah.
And that's pretty interesting. And one thing also that I know Talkin said, and it's just like, one thing that Talkin said also is just with AI and everything, even with the education system, as we start to evolve IT into our school system now, there's also been a heavy push for STEM, for science, technology, engineering, and math.
True.
And there's always been a bunch of debates about where the education system is going now. And it's just like some people are saying, no, we need to push more STEM and financial literacy, and also they're saying that we need to be providing more. We need to start teaching more of the skills that we're going to actually be using.
Absolutely.
And currently, and honestly, for myself, I would definitely like to see more. I would like to see, like, starting at the high school level, maybe even middle school too, that people start choosing the path that they want to go in, whether it's whether they want to become a journalist, or maybe they want to go into entertainment. We start like creating pathways, or
absolutely
certain paths for them to start taking, so they start taking the classes that they're actually going to be using when they go into their respective fields, instead of just teaching everybody all this stuff that they're eventually just going to forget.
Absolutely.
So we bringing back Booker T's ideologies and vocational training.
I mean, yeah, at this point, everything is a vocation that people need, because you don't need to go to school really to learn the data analysis or how to code and stuff like that. No. But I think that's absolutely right, Sean. And I think that's why a lot of other countries do better than us, because they're figuring out what they want to be in middle school. Yeah. Like, they're on their path in middle school. Yeah. They take this, this career assessment thing, and then they can get to choose what high school, and high schools are pretty much based off of whatever thing you want to do. If you want to go to a medical, field, you go to this particular high school. But this is a fantastic conversation, Sean. I did not expect us to drive into this, so we're going to have to get you back so we actually talk about a conceptual topic.
We want you to give us 3 points for everybody to take home about entrepreneurship, especially being a black man grinding out here and making a way for yourself. 3 things to leave the people with.
Sheesh. So the first thing is, if you're thinking about starting a business, I know that it can seem pretty scary or daunting eventually, starting this business out, maybe even leaving your 9 to 5. So I just want you to remember one thing. You're not the only one that's scared. Just want you to remember that, I'm scared as I'm doing this. Right. Talkin and Taylor, I'm pretty sure that y'all are probably scared doing this whole podcast. You invested all this money into it. Yeah. You don't know, something may come up, and you never know when the last days could be. Right. But a lot of people are scared. Those people starting out, they're scared. There's people who already made it. They're scared because the next day they could lose everything. Right. And my thing is, you don't have to be scared. But if you are scared, just know you're not in it alone. Because there's a whole bunch of people out there that are in your shoes right now.
Absolutely.
And you always got people to run and turn to. Another thing is when you're looking to start your business, don't look at the failures of other people. Don't let the very few failures distract you from the whole bunch of successes that we've had from people, especially in minorities that are actually out here doing it.
Yeah.
And don't think that entrepreneurship is just about creating your own thing. You don't have to start your own business to be an entrepreneur. There's a whole bunch of different routes you can take. You can start a franchise. You can pretty much go out and buy and flip houses. You can pretty much start your own school, create your own online classes, whatnot. There's a whole bunch of different stuff you can do to actually come out here and make money and consider yourself as an entrepreneur. And one thing I've also learned from my fiance too is that it's okay to have an idea that's not original, because if you think about it, if you walk down the bread aisle, everything is the exact same.
Right.
The only difference is the way it's packaged.
Hey.
Yeah.
Talk about the packaging and presentation. Yes. Well, Sean.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I definitely just want to say thank you, Taylor, Talkin, and the rest of the Hypothesis team for having me on the show. This is a really great platform, for me to come up here and share what I have to offer to anybody else that's trying to do the same thing I'm doing. And if anybody else is listening to this thing and needs help, they can definitely feel free to reach out to me, and I can do what I can to help them.
Yeah, please tell them your IG. We got you on the story, and we also have the graphic that you talked about earlier with keys to starting a business on our story as well. But go ahead and just shout your IG handles and your Facebook handles out so people can know. Okay,
so for Instagram, you can follow us at Cash Consultant. Facebook is See Success Differently, which is our tagline. And for Twitter, it's at Cash Consultant as well.
Okay, and it's spelled CACHE.
Not CASH, CACHE.
You heard, and we got them tagged. So y'all follow him. Definitely endorse him. Check him out. Check out his business. He's a great man. We really appreciate you coming on this podcast. It was a great time. We're gonna have you back. Thank you everybody for tuning in. And this is the Hypothesis Podcast, and we are out.
Peace.